Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters. Welcome to today's episode of Ask Eman, where we're going to be here with you live for the next hour to take your questions and get them answered by our Shaykh today, inshallah. So the number is 0203 515 0769 to call us on to ask your questions. You can also send your questions to our WhatsApp number, email address, and if you're watching along on Facebook Live or on YouTube, on our live streams, you can leave your questions at the comment section, inshallah. So I'll be your host for today, and joining us is Imam Wasim Kempson. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. Welcome to the show.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you for joining us today, Shaykh. As we start every show, I'd like to ask you for a short reminder, Shaykh, and then we can continue with some questions from our viewers, inshallah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء وسيد المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد. All praise belongs to Allah. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon His final messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and upon all the prophets and messengers who preceded him alayhim salatu wa atammu taslim. Now it is well known that the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was revealed over a period of 23 years or so. And there are many hikam, there are many wisdoms behind the Quran being revealed over this extended period of time. 23 years is not a short time, it's a long time. And within this time you find that the revelation is put into two main categories. There's different perspectives or different ways of looking at it. One of those ways is the Makki period, and the other one is the Madani period. So you find that there are Makki verses and then there are Madani verses, and the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses and revealed in both times is clearly that there is a difference. In general, there is at the beginning of Islam, the establishment of Iman, talking about the past nations, previous nations, and what happened to them because they disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, talking about remaining firm and relying and trusting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then in the Madani period, after about 13 years or so, you find that there is an establishment of ahkam, rulings, social kind of interaction, and so on and so forth. This is to develop the individual. Now, once the revelation was complete, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, along with the companions, they took that on in how to teach people, how to bring people up in Islam so that they understand Islam in the correct way. And this is a gift. It is a gift. In that you find when the companions, when they would teach, when their students, they would teach and they would pass on the Quran and the Sunnah, and they would teach these, teach the revelation to people, it would be in line with the people's understanding. It wouldn't be there delivered to the people in a way which was confusing to them. Bearing in mind that the vast majority, 99% of the Muslim population are laymen. So therefore, the message has to be delivered to them in a way which is palatable, which is understandable, which is clear, which is not something that causes confusion or causes doubts. Therefore, you find that there is a great responsibility upon the ulama, upon the scholars, to address the matters which are pertinent and important to the awam, to the general people, and that it is addressed and delivered to them in the appropriate way. If they were to talk about confusing matters, if they were to talk about things which the awam, when I say the awam, I'm meaning the general layman, if they were not to understand this issue, then it would cause much confusion within themselves. And they would be, causes of fitna amongst the people. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Ask the people of knowledge if you don't know. Then in turn, the people of knowledge, Ahlul Ilm, will then give the knowledge in a palatable and clear manner to the people so that they can start practicing their Islam. Yes, that there are elements in which require research. Yes, there are elements of the deen which are kind of a higher level of understanding is needed. And that ultimately we know that this is the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is no confusion, there is no hiding. But it requires a certain amount of understanding. Sometimes you find non-Muslims, they quote certain verses, kill them wherever you find them. Okay? It's a common quote from those who have issues with Islam and the Quran, quoting something completely out of context, having no knowledge at all, this causes a problem for them. Now, can you imagine Muslims? They have, not necessarily on the same issues, but on other matters of the deen where they have very, very shallow knowledge concerning that. And that if it's not made clear to them, then it will cause confusion within them. This is why there is a great responsibility upon Ahlul Ilm, regarding the people of knowledge, to speak about things in a manner which is clear to the people, not to cause confusion, but rather to be there to allay any doubts, to allay, to put to one side any things which are in the Muslim's mind. Something is happening now with the Black Lives Movement and so on and so forth. What's the Islamic perspective of that? Or for example, with COVID-19, how do we view that within Islamic a lens? How do we understand and get through these issues? If we don't have qualified, wise people of knowledge at these particular times, then a difficult situation becomes even more difficult. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to have contact with real people of knowledge who understand the situation, who are able to deliver the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the people in ways that doesn't cause them confusion. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to remain firm on the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wallahu a'lam.
Ameen. Thank you so much, Shaykh, for that. We're going to go to our next call of the show, or our first call of the show actually. Assalamu alaikum to our brother or sister on the line. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Hawa. I'm calling from Romford, please.
Welcome to the show, sister. And your question?
Right. So my question is, as a woman, in a man, when you are in your menses, you are not allowed to touch Quran. But this has been bothering me because I have a lot of different Quran app on my phone. So sometimes I don't feel comfortable when I'm in my menses, excuse me to say that. But so I want the Shaykh to, tell me his idea on that, because that is something that has been bothering me.
Okay, sister. Thank you for your question. Do you have any other questions?
No, please.
All right,
Thank you.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you. You can stay on the line to hear your answer, or you can watch along on your TV, inshallah. Thank you.
So the vast majority of the ulama are of the view that a woman who is on her menses, that she should not physically touch the mushaf. This is something which the madhahib al-arba', they're all in much agreement that you shouldn't touch the mushaf physically, hand on the mushaf. However, with regards to the phone, does this take the ruling of a mushaf? With regards to the applications that you can open, what seems to be close is that you do not actually call the phone a mushaf. It doesn't take the ruling of a mushaf. So if you open the application on the phone, then you can recite from it, inshallah ta'ala, which is, albeit a minority of you, but there's no clear evidence to say that you cannot read the Quran. There's the opinion of Imam Malik, rahimahullah. You can recite the Quran while a woman is on her monthly cycle. If you need to turn the pages, just to be on the safe side, is that when you're going to turn the pages on the application, just do it at the bottom of the screen, not actually touching the nas of the Quran, but at the bottom, where you're not touching the writing, the Arabic writing, you can change, flick over the pages by doing that. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is best.
Thank you, Shaykh. For everyone watching at home, you can give us a call on 0203-515-0769 to ask any questions you may have. And you can also send us your questions to our WhatsApp number on 074-2239-8833. If you're watching along on YouTube, then you can leave your questions at the comment section, inshallah. So our next question, Shaykh, is going to be from WhatsApp. And the question is, Assalamu alaikum. Is this a authentic durood? Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin Nabi الأمي وعليه وبارك وسلم.
If you're talking about the durood and that's what you want to say in your salah, in your prayer, then the the way it is said is quite well known. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim fil alameen innaka hamidun majid. And there are other narrations without fil alameen, and also Allahumma barik ala Muhammad. That is what he's saying in your salah. If somebody wants to simply say their salutations upon the Prophet ﷺ, like a day like now, which is of course a very special time for us in the week, Yawmul Jum'ah, in which the Prophet ﷺ said that there is an hour on the day of Jum'ah that if an abd, the servant, makes dua, at that time it is hoped that Allah Jalla wa'ala will answer that person's supplication. And many of the ulama said that it is after Salat al-Asr, maybe a short while before Salat al-Maghrib, which we are falling into right now. So as a reminder for myself and yourselves to make lots of dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. With regards to what you have said, yeah, I mean it is a salah upon the Prophet alayhi wasallam. You're sending your peace, salatu and salam upon the Prophet alayhi wasallam. The meaning seems to be correct. Allah knows best. That's outside of salah I'm talking about.
Thank you, Shaykh. I was going to ask, Shaykh, if we don't take part, or we don't not take part, if we don't perform the sunan of the day of Jumu'ah, and we're kind of letting it pass by, you know, we don't read Salat al-Kahf, we don't do the Durood, you know, salutations on the Prophet, are we missing out on Jumu'ah?
No. There's no doubt, if a person leaves the sunnah, then a person is avoiding or staying away from lots of good. Sending salatu and salam upon the Prophet ﷺ extra and more on the day of Jum'ah was something that the Prophet ﷺ encouraged us to do. So that if a person doesn't do that, they've missed out on a great deal of reward. Similarly, the other sunan, or recommended acts at least, because the issue of Surah Al-Kahf, whether it's from the sunnah or a state from one of the companions, radiallahu anhu, is a discussion amongst the scholars, but something nonetheless, if a person misses it out, then they miss out on the reward or the virtue that is attached to that particular action. And as Muslims, yes, we have the fara'id, we have the obligations that we should all fulfill, and not look to just stop there, but rather we look at the sunan acts and to see the virtues and blessings that are also attached in doing those. And as servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, none of us are in a position where we can feel sufficient with that what we do with regards to fara'id. I mean, if you do your best on that, then as we know in the famous hadith in Sahih Muslim and Bukhari, that a man, an Arabi, he came into the masjid of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and asked a number of questions about what obligations were upon him. And he said, I'm not going to do any more, I'm not going to do any less than that. And then the Prophet ﷺ said, if you want to see a man from the people of Jannah, then look at that individual. So yes, if you do fulfill the obligations and fara'id, then inshallah this is a means for you to reach the paradise, but through Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy. But we shouldn't just be people who are looking at that, but rather each individual is in need of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to do as many good deeds that you can. So therefore I would say that any sunan that you find that you can do on Yawmul Jum'ah, or any other sunan for any other days for that matter, then don't take it lightly, but rather do as much as you can from it. Allahu ta'ala.
Thank you, Shaykh. We're going to go now to our next caller of the show. Assalamu alaikum to our brother or sister on the line. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Khan, I'm calling from Peterborough.
Welcome to the show, brother. And your question?
My question is, when you're reading Salat, Salam alaikum to the Shaykh first. When you're reading Salat and you're reading Surah Fatiha or whatever, your mind tends to wander. When you have a conscience and then you have a subconscious, you get thoughts in your head. Or is there any way or how the Shaykh or his experience is about that?
Okay. You can stay on the line, brother, and the Shaykh will answer your question now, inshallah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so there are at times, occasions for all of us for that matter, that the shaitan may come to us and try to busy us with matters of the dunya, whether it's to do with your work or money or family, children, or something just to distract you from the prayer. I think it's important to remind ourselves that when you begin your salah, that you stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Rabbul Alameen. And secondly, that in your salah that there are particular things for you to say. It's understandable that when you're following the imam and maybe you suffice yourself with the minimum that what is said in the salah. So there's times in your prayer where there's some silence or some pause. You're not thinking of anything. That allows your mind then to kind of wander in different places and start thinking about other things. So the way to combat that is not just to say, after Surah Al-Fatiha, a very short surah like Qul Huwallahu Ahad, but rather tries to choose a longer surah that busies you in the salah, which then stops you, refrains you from your mind wandering off. So this is something that you can try to do when you're in your salah, to stop your mind kind of thinking about other things. Also understanding what you're saying in your prayer. This allows you to feel and understand, to know what you are saying, what you are asking for, how you are praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This will help you a great deal, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Another thing that can help you is to change the things that you say in your salah. So you might recite Surah Al-Fatiha, try to change different chapters that you recite in the Quran. You might say, well, I haven't memorized that very much. Okay, make an effort to try and memorize maybe 1 or 2 new surahs that you can recite in your salah. Likewise, try to memorize a couple of du'as that you can make while in ruku'. Subbuhul Quddus Rabbul Malaikatu wal Ruh. This is something you can say as well as saying Subhana Rabbil Azim while you are in ruku', bowing down. Similarly, you can say that in sujood. Try to memorize a couple of new du'as that you will say in your sujood, which will keep you busy. And the fact that it's new allows you, or it makes it easier for you to concentrate in your prayer, inshallah ta'ala. But ultimately, this is something that the shaitan will try to busy you with throughout your life, if you like. But you must, try your best to combat that with the practical steps that I mentioned to you. And also, An-Nabi alayhi salam mentions and advised to us that the shaitan may come with evil thoughts to you, that is allowed for you, the individual, to kind of do an action that on their left, that there's an action which is kind of like to blow 3 times. If you're in a jama'ah, okay, and there's people on your right, and there's somebody on your left, that is, that you don't turn your left on your left and then blow into the person. That's not how it's done. But rather, as you are facing the qibla, but rather your head is just down to the left, and you look just to the left, and that's how you do it, like that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, not all the way to the left, because there's a person there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just look slightly down, just to your left, and to do the action there.
Yeah.
And this is something that the Prophet ﷺ advised us to do if a person is bothered by some evil thoughts from the shaitan. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is best. Or to seek refuge in Allah Jalla wa Ala.
Yeah, because I'm used to seeing people turn towards me and...
yeah, that's not how it's done. Yeah, that's not how it's done. No.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. Thank you. Our next question is from WhatsApp, and the question is, Assalamu alaikum. To pay off debt quickly, is there any way or anything I can read to help me pay it off quicker?
Yeah, so with regards to debts, then lots of dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very important. If you go to Husn al-Muslim, the fortress of the Muslim, there's a couple of du'as that you'll find in there in paying off debts. Okay? If you don't have the physical booklet itself, you can download the application to your phone. You can find it on a search engine, the fortress of the Muslim. You download that and you can see the du'as which are there for paying off debts, and have trust and reliance in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, have a hope in Allah Jalla wa Ala, and He will help you to pay off those debts. Wallahu ta'ala.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. We're going to go now to our next caller of the show. Assalamu alaikum to our brother or sister on the line. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Assalamu alaikum salam. I'm calling from London. I just have about 2 questions. One is, are men allowed to pray wearing vest, a trouser and a vest? Because I read it somewhere that they're not allowed. They have to cover their shoulders. And one other question is, I have a 10-year-old that started her menses, and she goes to madrasa, like she reads Quran, she goes to the Islamic studies. Does she have to stop going to madrasa when she has her menses because she has to hold the Quran? Or what's the ruling?
Okay. You can either listen to your answer on the phone, sister, or you can watch along on your TV, inshallah.
On the TV, yeah, Jazakallah khair.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much.
The first question was?
The first question slipped my mind. I remember the second one.
Yeah. Okay, we'll start with the second one.
The men praying in a vest and shorts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll answer that first. So you read correctly. There is a view amongst some of the ulama that when a person is praying, that their shoulders should be covered. And praying in a vest is really not befitting. Remembering that you're going to stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord of the worlds. You wouldn't stand in front of, your work manager or work colleague in a vest. Okay, you may be at home, there's some relaxation in what you're going to wear, but nonetheless there should be some element of honor in how you present yourself in your salah, and wearing a vest isn't really honoring yourself, therefore you should cover yourself appropriately, inshallah ta'ala. If we're talking about even, quote unquote, borderline, what's valid and what's not valid, I mean, you can go there if you wish, whether it's valid for you just have one of your shoulders covered even. But what I'm saying is that you're standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wear something which is you honoring your Lord, and that is that you really should not pray in a vest. And secondly, with regards to the one who is on her monthly cycle, there's two issues here. One is entering the masjid. The second one is touching the mushaf. As for touching the mushaf, then it is not permitted for the ha'id or for the one who's on a monthly cycle to physically touch the mushaf. There are ways around that, in that if they wear gloves, that serves as a barrier between them touching and touching the mushaf. So wearing gloves is a solution for that. Or if it is placed upon a rest, a Quran rest, and then the pages are turned with pen or whatever it's turned with, not the physical hand, that's also another solution. Now, with regards to the ha'id or the menstruating woman going into the masjid, then the Jumhur of the view that she shouldn't enter the masjid. Again, it is a matter of khilaf. Now, if it is something which this is where you get to kind of exceptions to the rule. So what I would say is that in general terms, that the ha'id does not, I don't want to get into too many other separate issues, but in general, the ha'id or the menstruating woman does not enter the masjid. And Allah's part of it.
Thank you, Shaykh. Our next question is from our caller, who's on the line right now. So, assalamu alaikum to our brother or sister. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, assalamu alaikum. My name is Akhtar Malik. I'm calling from New York.
Where are you calling from, brother?
I'm calling from New York.
Okay. Welcome to the show. How are you today?
Alhamdulillah, I'm alright. How are you doing?
I'm well. Thank you so much for asking. And your question?
So, assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. So my question is, so we know as Muslims that there's a Qareen that whispers in our ear, and the Qareen tells us to kind of do things, bad things, so that we can kind of stray away from the path of Allah. My question is, it's kind of like a two-part question. So the first part is, the Qareen whispers in our ear. So, the conscience, if you break it down into like a scientific way, a lot of people and scientists have concluded that the conscience, we can hear it, but then us as Muslims, we think it's the Qareen whispering in our ear. So my question is, number one, can we physically hear the Qareen? Because at times there'll be, I'll feel like that I'll hear like a friend of mine say something, but obviously it'll just be me in the room, but then I'll hear their voice exact, you know what I mean? I do a lot of tasbiyat, I do pray 5 times a day, you know what I mean, alhamdulillah. But, so that's the first question. So the second question is, can we hear the malaika also? Because we can, if we hear, the Qareen, then, I would think that we can hear the malaika too. So, it's kind of like a two-part question. And if...
Thank you so much, my brother. May Allah reward you. Thank you for your question. I think the brother was calling from New York, mashallah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear it very easily. So, as you heard, Shaykh, he asked about hearing the Qareen, are you able to? And the malaika.
Yeah. And a simple answer that we don't, there's no like decibels that the Qareen makes nor the malaika that we will hear that. This is something that is not measured in a physical sound that we can hear. But it is a whispering, an internal sound, and whispers from the shaitan, which is, his name is the Qareen, the shaitan is assigned to every human being. You will hear that internally. It's not something that if I'm sitting next to you, I'll hear the shaitan whispering to you. I won't hear that. We won't hear that, okay, from one another. But you will hear it. You will hear it. So that answers the question, inshallah. It's not something you can hear externally like that, but it is rather in yourself. Allahu Akbar.
And the malaika?
The same. We don't hear anything from the malaika. It's a world of the unseen.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. Thank you so much. Okay, so our next question, Shaykh, is I just want to find out if women are allowed to go to the graveyard and recite Quran for their loved ones. But we've reached our break, so we'll go to our break and then we'll come back to that question.
Inshallah.
So if everyone watching at home, we're going to take a short break now. You can still give us a call once we're back, inshallah, on 0203 5150 769. You can also send your questions during the break to our WhatsApp number on 074 2239 8833. Sorry if I've said that too quickly. I'll repeat it again when we're back. For now, brothers and sisters, stay tuned, and we'll be back after our short break, inshallah. For now, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters, welcome back to today's Ask Eman live show. We're going to be with you for another 30 minutes here to take your questions and get them answered for you by our Shaykh today, Eman Wasim Kempson. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back after the break.
Yeah.
And welcome back to the show to our viewers. We're going to go straight to our next caller that's waiting on the line. And then we'll come back to the question that I asked from WhatsApp before the break. So, Assalamu alaikum to our brother or sister on the line right now. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Wa alaikum salam. My name is Anusha and I'm calling from London. And my question is, I'm traveling, so Isha is really late. It's like 11:30. So I'm 14, so can I join Isha with Maghrib?
While traveling?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Isha's at 11:30, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. All right then. Do you have any other questions?
No.
All right.
Thank
You can
you.
stay on the phone to listen to your question, and then maybe you can ask a question after it if it's not clear, or you can watch along on your TV, inshallah. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
So, when a person is going on a journey, it is allowed for us to shorten and join our prayers. So, Dhuhr will be joined with Salatul Asr and shortened. So, Dhuhr and Asr are both 2 rak'ah each. And you have the choice, while on your journey, when you've left the outskirts of your city, then you can start shortening and joining your prayers. So if you want to pray them both in Dhuhr time, so you pray Asr and Dhuhr time, or if you want to delay, so you pray Dhuhr and Asr time, you can do that. Similarly with Maghrib and Isha. So once Salat al-Maghrib comes in, you mentioned that Isha is quite late, so immediately after that you can pray Salat al-Isha 2 rak'ah as you are a traveler, and that's allowed for you to do that for the duration of your travel until you reach your destination. When you reach your destination, I don't know, you didn't mention how long you're staying, or that's a completely separate issue. But during your journey, you can shorten and join your prayers, inshallah.
Thank you, Shaykh. Does that answer your question?
No, I meant like when I'm already at the place.
Okay. When you've already reached the place you're going to,
Yeah.
and you're on holiday, is that what you mean?
Kind of.
Kind of like you've gone somewhere you're going to stay.
Okay, so how long are you staying there?
2 or 3 weeks.
Okay. Is it a known return? You know when you're returning?
Yeah, either in 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay. So if a person arrives at their destination, so on your journey, you can shorten.
Mm-hmm.
If you're at your destination, now, if you're staying for 2 or 3 weeks, and you have a fixed date that you're returning, you know when you're returning, then for that amount of time, then you're not considered a traveler. Okay? That's like 14 or between 14 and 21 days. The Jamhur see that anyone who stays more than 4 days, not including the day that you arrive or you leave, so you're 4 full days there, anything less than that, you would be considered a musafir, and you can shorten and join your prayers. But you're staying there for that amount of time, then you will take the ruling of a resident. So when you arrive there, you pray your prayers in their time, inshallah ta'ala.
Okay, thank you, Shaykh. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for your call. Jazakallah khair. We're going to go to our next caller now. So, assalamu alaikum to our young brother on the line. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello?
Hi, I can hear you. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Eman Channel and I'm calling from Harrow.
MashaAllah. And how old are you?
I'm 11 years old.
MashaAllah. How was your Ramadan? How was your Eid?
My Ramadan and Eid was fine, alhamdulillah. How was yours?
Alhamdulillah, it was good. I really enjoyed it. Jazakallah khair.
Alhamdulillah.
How's yours, Shaykh?
It's becoming a distant memory now.
It's Shawwal now,
Yeah,
right? I should
I guess
ask how's Shawwal going.
While you're still in Shawwal, I will allow you to ask those questions.
Yeah, I know. I should go over it.
You obviously had a good Eid, mashallah. You were
I
talking
know,
about
I keep asking about it, isn't it? Alhamdulillah. And your question?
My question is, what is the sunnah? What are the sunnahs of cutting your nails? And like, when are you allowed to cut your nails?
Okay. Do you have any other questions? No? Okay. So that's it.
Yeah. So the trimming of the nails, both on your hands and your feet, are from the matters of fitrah, personal hygiene, personal practice that we should have. In general, you can do it any time. It's not, for example, oh, you can't do it on a Friday, or you can't do it on a Saturday. You can do it any day you like. There's no prohibition on that. The only time that you shouldn't trim your nails is when you are in a state of ihram. If you're going to perform Hajj or Umrah and you're in a state of ihram, that's when you don't trim your nails or remove any hair for that matter. Other than that time, then it's free. You can trim your nails at any time. The hadith of Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anhu, which is a hadith in Sahih Muslim, in which the Prophet said that it would not be left, shouldn't be left beyond arba'un. It should not be left beyond 40 days. You don't, and that's a really long time. So as Muslims, you don't have really long nails. It's not befitting for Muslims to have these really long nails. Brothers and sisters, by the way. Okay? Because there is kind of habits and practices that people have very long nails, which in some customs, in some ways, which is maybe seen as beautiful. And it's okay looking after your nails. You go to a person, you want to get rid of clean up the cuticles, and you clean your nails and things like that. That's important. Personal hygiene is very important. But remember that if a person who has extremely long nails, then the question is asked, how do you keep, it gets kind of a little bit sensitive, but how do you remain clean when you go to the bathroom if you have such long nails? So, it wasn't directly asked, but these are side issues which are also important to mention, So, these are the rulings. When you do trim your nails, you can just simply throw them away. You don't have to have a special place in your garden where you have to bury them and you have to hide your nails. You can just, you can dispose of them in the bin as you would. Allah knows best.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. We've also been asked, is it true that it's not advised to cut your nails during the night time?
I don't know of any evidence to say that. Trimming your nails at night time, you can't do that. You only do it in the daytime. There's no evidence for this. Allahu A'lam.
Okay, Shaykh. Thank you so much. We're going to go to our next caller now. So, assalamu alaikum to our brother or sister on the line. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ahmad.
Your name?
My name is Ahmad Wuri.
MashaAllah. And where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Stevenage.
MashaAllah. And how old are you?
I'm 11 years old.
MashaAllah. Alhamdulillah. And what's your question?
My question is, about the handshaking?
Yeah.
Or when Muslims greet?
Yeah.
Before, when the coronavirus started, earlier they started shaking their hands with their elbows. But would have that been appropriate by now, or would have it still been appropriate then?
Okay. So your question is, can we shake hands now, or should we still continue just bumping elbows? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
All right. Do you have any other questions?
No.
All right then. Thank you so much for your call. You can stay on the phone to listen to your answer, or you can watch on your TV, okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for your call.
So the current guidance as it stands at the moment is that people not from your household, there should be a 2-meter social distancing implemented. So, elbow bumping is, you would be breaking that, so you really shouldn't do that. So as the guidance stands at the moment that's given to us, elbow bumping would be not adhering to social distancing as the advice is given to us. So that may change in the future. If it changes in the future, of course, then you can, you do what is in line with that. But as it stands at the moment, if you're within your own household, there's no need to shoulder bump or elbow bump, you can shake hands in your own home. There's no problem in that. But people from other households, it's something that, to be honest with you, is changing quite frequently. I would advise you really to look at the latest guidance concerning if you get a visitor from another household, the kind of things that need to be adhered to. So this is not really strictly an Islamic question. This is a question which, Muslim, non-Muslim is kind of required to follow, and this kind of government guidance on that. So I would probably refer you to the latest guidance on that, if you can make head or tail of it.
I think, subhanAllah, Shaykh, when you mentioned that, so you shouldn't do it now, I remembered, do you remember we done that on the show one time or two times?
We did a couple of times,
yeah. I thought to myself, subhanAllah, that was before the social distancing came about. It feels like it was ages ago, months ago, subhanAllah. It went so quickly. Thank you, Shaykh, for the answer. We're going to go to our next question now from our next caller. Assalamu alaikum to Brother Tariq, I believe. Hamad Tariq, if that's correct. Welcome to the show. How are you today?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to yourself and Shaykh Wasim Kempson.
Wa alaikum
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine, and how are you both, mashallah?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, I'm well.
Alhamdulillah.
And your question?
My question is related to sajda tilawa. During the sajda, are we allowed to make any dua for our personal need, or should we just restrict to ourselves to Subhanallah and the dua that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to make? Or can we make any dua for our personal need, like for more children and things like that?
Yeah. Okay.
Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so the brother's mentioning about sajdatul tilawa, the prostration that's made with regards to certain ayat. When we reach that, we prostrate. There are the option of you saying simply Subhana Rabbiyal A'la. There's also the option that you can also make the dua, which is also authentically reported while in sujood. There's nothing prohibiting, there's nothing stopping you making dua while in sujood. If you wanted to make other than that, then it's permitted for you to do that, wallahu a'lam.
Thank you, Shaykh.
Other than that.
Thank you, Shaykh. Our next question is going to be from WhatsApp, Shaykh, and the question is, I broke my fast for 3 days in Ramadan because I was sick, so now what should I do? What do I have to do?
Yeah. So if somebody missed some days in Ramadan because of a sickness that befell them, then quite simply, you just need to make those days up, inshallah ta'ala, when they're able to, when they feel they've recovered. I assume that's now, and if it is not, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you shifa. Whenever you're healthy again, you just fast those days. There's nothing else upon you, just to fast those days and make it up, inshallah ta'ala.
Thank you, Shaykh. Our next question, Shaykh, is about the beard, and does Islam allow trimming or not?
So there are a number of ahadith concerning the beard, different phrases that the Prophet ﷺ said with regards to the growing of the beard. Very famous scholar, Imam Shawkani rahimahullah, has a book called Nail al-Awtar, and when he talks about the narrations about the beard, there's about 5 or 6 different wordings that the Prophet ﷺ said with regards to the beard. Leave the beard, grow the beard, look after your beard. Okay, all of these, first and foremost, establish the growing of the beard and the forbidding of shaving it. Now, on top of that, we have the practice of some of the companions of the Messenger ﷺ, from them Abdullah ibn Umar and Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhuma, that they would trim their beard. And how that would be done is authentically narrated from them, that they would take their hands like this and place it from their chin, and what they would extend beyond the al-qabda, or a handful, that they would trim that off, which shows the permissibility of trimming the beard in this manner. So we can, if you like, if there is a need to trim and make your beard look tidy, inshallah that's permitted for you to do that, but shaving is not, okay? Then, there are those who want to ask further questions as to what is the very least that I can do. Am I allowed to have a shadow beard? Okay, and what is the definition of the beard? In that, if I was to draw a line, what am I allowed to keep and what am I allowed to get rid of and things like that, which has its own discussion. Is maybe not the time to do that now, but in general, a Muslim man grows his beard, is forbidden to shave it. If you need to trim it, then it's permissible for you to do that. Wallahu a'lam.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. Our next question is, please explain generally how inheritance should be divided between families, and also if someone has a step brother or sister, how should we share the wealth with them?
Okay, so inheritance and the distribution of one's wealth after death is something that's taken out of the hands of us. You and I don't have a say over that. And this was, there's a great hikmah, there's a great wisdom behind that. And that is so that, and it can happen quite often and quite easily, that one relative will oppress and wrong another relative in saying that they will get nothing from me, even though they may be a son or a daughter or a brother or a sister. Therefore, we find these rulings concerning the distribution of one's wealth in the Quran made very clear in Surah An-Nisa. Okay, towards the beginning of Surah An-Nisa, the rulings of inheritance and distribution of wealth is made very, very clear. Now, who gets what? Well, because it is an issue which depends on who is alive and who's related to that deceased, it is advisable to go to a specialist so that the situation can be explained to them, given to them, and they will work out for you. Now, as for non-blood relations, a stepbrother or stepsister, then they're not direct, they're not inheritors. They don't inherit from the deceased. But it is permissible that the deceased can write a wasiyyah, and that is to bequeath some of their wealth, maybe to other relatives or for a charity project or something. And that can be up to no more than 1/3 of their wealth. Okay? So this is in general how it works. Wallahu a'lam.
Thank you, Shaykh. Jazakallah khair. We're going to go to our next caller now. Assalamu alaikum to our brother or sister on the line. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Wa alaikum assalam. My name is Tamjeed Kadir and I'm calling from London.
MashaAllah. Assalamu alaikum, Tamjeed. How are you today?
Alhamdulillah, I'm okay.
Alhamdulillah. And how old are you?
I'm 9 years old.
MashaAllah. And do you have your parents' permission to be calling us?
Yes.
MashaAllah. And your question?
There's a question from my dad. Is it permissible to color the beard?
Okay. MashaAllah. And do you have any other questions?
No.
No? Okay, so you can stay on the phone to listen to your answer, or you can watch on your TV, okay?
Okay.
All right then.
Okay, so in general, it is allowed for the man to dye their beard a different color, whether it's with henna or another dye other than black. Black is not permitted. But if they want to dye their beard, if they have some, grey hairs and things like that, not to pull them out, but to dye it a brown or a dark brown or whatever color they feel is suitable for their beard, then it is allowed, even their hair as well. You can use henna or some dye in your beard or your hair. That's fine, inshallah ta'ala, no problem with it.
Thank you, Shaykh. Our next question is going to be from WhatsApp, and the question is, there's two questions. Is it part of the sunnah to do ruqyah on someone? And number two, if you want to fast on a Friday, do you have to add another day, so Thursday and Friday, or Friday and Saturday?
Okay. So performing ruqyah is something authentically established and found in the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay? And that is done by reciting, using the Quran and sound authentic narrations or du'as from the Prophet ﷺ specifically. So it is a sound practice. That's the first question. The second question was?
Second question was about if you fast Friday, do you have to join Thursday or Saturday with it?
So the Prophet ﷺ said in the Sahih Hadith, Bukhari, Muslim, that do not isolate or single out Yawm al-Jum'ah to fast, except that if you do fast Friday, then you fast a day before it with it, so Thursday and Friday, or you fast a day after it, so you fast Friday and Saturday. Now, let's say, for example, a person, and that is because a person is singling out Jum'ah because of the Jum'ah. That's what you're not allowed to do. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't single out to fast for Jum'ah because it's Jum'ah.
Okay.
However, if a person has days to make up from Ramadan, if a person is fasting one day on and one day off, this is an easier example, a day like the Sawm or the fasting of Dawood alayhi salam, the person one fasts one day and then doesn't fast the other day. Ultimately, you will find a day that you're going to single out Jum'ah for that. Now, you're not singling out Jum'ah because it's the Jum'ah, but rather happens to fall on the Jum'ah, but the reason for the fast is another reason. Okay, because you're fasting one day on, one day off. So if you happen to fall on the Jum'ah like this, it's not a must for you to fast a Thursday and a Friday with it, or the day after. Or let's say, for example, a person is making up some days from Ramadan. They have some obligatory fasts. And it happened to be like, a Friday night. And they say, I want to fast tomorrow. Because the objective is to make up that fard, it would be allowed for them to fast that Friday alone. It's not a must for them to fast the day before or after. Obviously the day before is gone, but the one after. And that is, you can differentiate between the two. What the Prophet ﷺ told us not to do is, and it's disliked to do, if a person even wants to do it on a Friday, it's disliked you to do that. Meaning that the fast would be valid. That you're not fasting the day because of the day itself, but rather the gharad or the objective behind it is something else. So if it's an obligatory fast you're making up, if it was a day of Shawwal that you're fasting, especially now, then you could do that, okay? It's not a must for you to fast the day before or after. But to single out Friday because of the Friday is something that we should avoid.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. We have two callers on the line, so we're going to go to our next caller. Assalamu alaikum, to our brother or sister on the line. What's your name and what's your question? Assalamu alaikum.
Hello?
Hey, can you hear me?
Do you hear me?
I can hear you, yep.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
To both of you and everyone in the studio at the moment of time.
Thank you so much.
My question is it permissible? Is it permissible to perform salah with eyes closed?
All right then. Do you have any other questions?
You got my question?
Yeah, I got your question. Do you have any other questions? Okay, thank you so much, my brother. We're going to go to our next caller just because of time, and then we'll answer both questions afterwards, inshallah. So, assalamu alaikum to our brother or sister on the line. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Assalamu alaikum, brother. I'm calling from London.
Welcome to the show, brother. How are you?
I'm not too bad. How are you, brother?
Alhamdulillah. I'm well. Jazakallah khair. And your question?
My question is, my wife lost the baby 3 weeks, 2 days. Premature.
Sorry for your loss.
And thank you, brother. She wanted to know, can she pray after 40 days between birth? And another question is, I've heard people say from Asr to Maghrib you shouldn't be eating, mom and dad.
After Asr and Maghrib you shouldn't be what, sorry?
Not eating.
Not eating. Okay.
Yeah, so could I may ask you, Brother Barakallahu Fik, at what stage was the miscarriage? How far into the pregnancy?
Oh, sure. No, my daughter got birth. She came in this dunya for 3 weeks, 2 days. She came premature, so she came in this dunya 4 months early.
Okay. So your wife gave birth after 4 months, and then the baby was alive for a few weeks, and then she died.
2 days. You see, she born 4 months before, so she born on the 6th month.
In the 6th month. Okay, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, I'll answer that, inshallah. That's clear.
Yeah.
May
Okay.
Allah bless you, make it easy for you.
We have 30 seconds left of the show.
Okay, we'll answer that question lastly, inshallah ta'ala, so the brother knows.
Yep.
So if your wife stops bleeding before 40 days, okay, she has ghusl, and then she starts praying. If it reaches 40 and she's still bleeding, then she performs the ghusl at 40 days and she starts praying. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for you and grant you children. Amen.
Thank you, Shaykh. We're going to have to finish there, brothers and sisters. In terms of those who have asked questions, we haven't gotten to them. We'll be back tomorrow at the same time. We'll start with those questions, inshallah. For now, assalamu alaikum.